Chapter 6. There had been a break scheduled for the last day, and the team was drinking and cards were on the table along with money. Mica entered the room in baggy pants and a shirt hugging her curves. Mica looked around the room. "Why didn't you tell me there was a party?" Aces looked up. "No party. I'm just doing my work and getting rich." Trigger laughed and turned to Sparks. "Get the woman a drink. No one is allowed to join us without a drink." Sparks tossed Mica a drink from the cooler. Trigger turned to Mica. "Do you want to join into the game?" Mica pulled out a wad of money from her pocket and laid it on the table. "Sure, what are we playing?" Without missing a beat, Aces announced, "Well, now we can play Jarka." Trigger looked at Aces. "Come on now. We are playing Tekra." Mica looked at Aces in the eyes. "Hey, if you want to play Jarka, Jarka is fine for me. Are you scared?" Trigger gave Mica a questioning look, and when she smiled, he in turn smiled. "Gentlemen, the lady has laid down a challenge. Let the game begin." After an hour, piles of men's clothes were scattered around the floor. Most are down to their underwear. Mica was in her bra, barefooted, but still had her pants on. Ace is still with pants on, but has lost his shirt, shoes, and socks. Trigger reaches back with a yawn. "Hate to say it, but lights out in 20. We need to wrap this game up. We have a heavy day of training starting at 0500. Aces looked at Mica. "I guess we are all winners so far. How about one last hand between us? Winners take all." Mica smiled and announced, "Deal." All the members of the team gathered around as the game became a one-on-one between Aces and Mica. Trigger deals the 10 cards to each, as all eyes are on the two players. Trigger turned to Mica. "Mica, you have more chips. Your move." Mica sorts her cards in her hand and lays out 3 of a kind, 10s, and pushes out a stack of 30% of her chips. Mica had a stone face. "Your move, Aces." Aces looks at Mica in the eyes and lays out 2 11s. He shoves out 30% of his chips. Trigger deals each player 3 cards. Mica studies her cards and places 2 more 10s on the table, along with half of her remaining chips. Mica had on her stone face. "Your move, Aces." Aces looks at Mica in the eyes and lays out 2 11s. He shoves out 30% of his chips. Trigger deals each player 3 cards. Mica studies her cards and places 2 more 10s on the table, along with half of her remaining chips. Mica smiles at Aces with a twinkle in her eyes and a firm jaw. Aces picks up his cards and, without looking at them, lays out 3 12s and half of his remaining chips. Not a sound is heard in the room as the battle engages everyone on the team. Trigger deals 2 more cards. Mica picks up her cards, then runs a hand to smooth her hair and shakes her upper torso, causing her breasts to jiggle in her bra. Mica lays out 2 12s and all of her chips but 10. She then grins at Aces. Aces smiles at Mica's moves and picks up his cards. With a quick glance, he lays down 6 9s and pushes out all but 10 chips. Trigger deals the final card to each. "Aces, you have the better board. Your move." Aces smiles at Mica and begins to lay out his cards. 2 more 12s, a 6 and 2 1s. He then pushes in the rest of his chips. Aces. "Okay, beautiful. Let's see everything you got." Mica looks at her cards with a frown and begins to lay down her remaining 7 cards. When she is done, she looks at Aces in the eyes and smiles. On the table are 7 12s. "Okay, handsome. Let's see everything you've got." The team breaks out in hoots and howls as Aces resigns and stands up, beginning to take off his trousers and finally his skivvies. Mica rises and slowly comes around the table with a sexy slink. Smiling at him and putting her arms around him, gives him a big kiss while he embraces her pulling her closer as she rubs her breast into it. She pulls back a little with a smile. Mica breaks the embrace and smiles. Best win of my life. The team breaks out in more hoots and howls and catcalls. Trigger stands up and announces, "Okay, everyone, entertainment over. Be ready for our 5-mile run before breakfast." Full pack out at 0500. Mica, set back in the ship seat with a smile on her face, proceeds to scan the status panel in front of her. She could see that snowstorm was coming in, but that didn't have much effect on her sensor systems. She continued her recording. It really was the most enjoyable win at Jacra in my life. While there were many more fun times, some of them were when we were able to meet separately. I remember the first time this subject of being other than a team came up. I was transporting aces.
We do not get paid by YouTube for any of our videos, so please consider contributions. Thank you.
If you enjoy our videos, please click Patreon on the front page and buy me a drink. Thank you. Please like and subscribe the Watcher in the Fall channel.